through the Adopt a Woman initiative is to bring women who have been through it and are out of it. Just as our very able speaker, Hadassah Esther, has put it. Oh my God, I don't know, just too many words to define her speech this morning. But right now, I just want to bring a very special lady. If I can just say a little bit before you introduce yourself. I told her, this is what I do. I have this platform and I'm about women. And she told me, do you know I'm actually about women? Can you go and watch my story on Lillian Ngugi? I watched that story. I cried. I finished crying. I cried again. I finished crying and I cried. Then I asked her, can I pick clips of your video and just put them out there to remind people that this story existed? Because it happened, I think, 4 years ago. So it was just, can I call it alignment by God? Because on that day when we met and we started talking about this, I was there busy asking God, you have said, rather this platform is supposed to have those life-changing stories. That day I was quite stressed because I didn't have someone in mind. And that was her, that God just said. And that was how we just continuously clicked. And Susan has just been, in a very few number of days, been a very strong pillar pushing the agenda of She's Thriving.
Thank you so much. I think as I start, I first want to acknowledge your mom. When a mother has such powerful daughters, have you people seen the daughters of our mother? Mom, congratulations. Yeah, I was just sitting there and thinking about her and how she was able to, God enabled you to have such powerful daughters. It's so inspiring, and I thought, as they say, give honor where honor is due. Yeah, my name is Susan Waithera Kagwe. I think I'm used to speaking when I'm standing, so I think it's from many places that we come from. You're always told when you're speaking, please stand. I want you ladies to relax. There are some gentlemen in the room. Because we want to listen to a story, isn't it? Yeah, so I want you to relax. I'm a lawyer by profession. By God's grace, this 2026 will be my 21st year as a lawyer. I'm also a daughter of a lawyer. We call them senior counsel when you've been at it for a long time. My father is also a lawyer. He's been in practice going 45 years now. And we are 6 girls. Out of his 6 daughters, I don't have a brother. So I always say once in a while, so I struggle with men. I think it started from when we were young. We were being told boys were bad. And I think our parents were trying, to try and protect us. So imagine if you don't have a brother, and then you're told boys are bad. You struggle. Yeah. I'm rebellious. And so when they told me boys are bad and I didn't have a brother, the first thing that made me curious was the man. How is this man? In fact, I remember when I was in nursery, I once peeped into a boys' toilet. I wanted to see what actually happened. Are we the same? And I was caught. I was quite a fat child, so I couldn't run away. So I was caught peeping in the boys' toilet. And I guess that curiosity is what made me a mother at 21 years. And I conceived my firstborn son, who is now a lawyer by God's grace, just in Kenya School of Law. I conceived him when I was 20. And when I conceived my son, I was in Catholic University, and then I got an opportunity to study in Makerere, to do my law there. And when I came back for holiday. I had a boyfriend now when I was going. When I came back, I conceived. When I was a month pregnant, that young man died. So I became a single mother from pregnancy. You know, like I'm pregnant and the father of the child has passed on. And one of my biggest supporters then was my ex-husband, because he was a best friend of the man who had died. They were boys. They had been in campus together, they had been in high school together. And I would say so, actually, let me say, I didn't know what I was doing. Confused, a first year in the university, pregnant, and then I got a baby, had to travel back with him. I studied with my baby on my back. I traveled back with him to university when he was 4 weeks old. By then we used to go with the Akamba.
Let's take a pause.
Yeah.
If I may ask, where were your parents at this point in time?
I have very interesting parents. I remember one of the things my mother told me, and she told me in Kikuyu, she told me, if you leave us this baby, you'll bring us another baby. So it was simple. She didn't mix her words. She just was very clear. The way you look, and I'm telling you it's true. If anybody, the psychologists, our MCs, I'm 100% sanguine. So we don't think through things before. So I would have gone and did what I did to get the first baby and had have thought about it after. So she just told me, you know what, we will support you. I remember they got me a house help. They shopped for me, and I went with my baby Sue to the university.
So were you living by yourself?
I rented a house at 21 years in another country with my baby and my house girl, and I would go to campus, come back in the evening. I was an evening student. So I would be holding my baby during the day, go and study, and come back. And I want to say something soon. At that time, I thought that was the worst time of my life. Where I didn't know what, I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know what was ahead. But so I realized, as Apostle Hadassah was saying, what you're going through now is preparing you for where God is taking you. I didn't know. I didn't know I had to be a mother at that young age because of the assignment God has for my life. Yeah.
Wow, that is very interesting. So tell us a little bit about what happened now.
Yeah, so again, happy-go-lucky. I went through campus with my baby. When I graduated, that was in, was it 2000 and something. I dressed my baby in a gown. Remember, we had studied together. So I wore my gown and I put my baby in a gown. He was about 2.5 years, going to 3. And so we graduated together and came back to Nairobi together, got to get into Kenya School of Law. And then the man came. Remember the guy I said?
Yes.
My greatest supporter. He was actually the first person who came to see me when I got my baby. He was actually the one who took me to Langata to see where they had buried my baby daddy. And we started relating. No analysis, nothing. In fact, my mom told me that, hey, when you have a son, as you're a single woman, hauko kwa soko, like you're off the market. So if somebody likes you, just say yes. Yeah. So so we didn't think, and I didn't know who I was. I just knew I had finished to study law. Somebody's saying they like me, and I have a son. And I don't know where I'm going. But somehow something has to come together. And so we started dating. And I remember I gave him an ultimatum. I'm brought up as a Catholic girl. very strong Catholic family. And so, Mom, I hope you're not listening. So I would sleep in my boyfriend's house. By that time now this was by then my second relationship. Sleep in my boyfriend's house. On Sunday morning, I go, I confess. I've always sung in the choir. I sing very well. I sing, and then I'll still go back to my boyfriend's house. And so I gave him an ultimatum, and I told him, if you not marry me within 1 year, then we are done. Has anyone ever given a man an ultimatum? Yeah, don't try it again. And if you've not, I already did it for you, and it doesn't work. And so when the year ended, he asked me, or rather I told him, the year is over. What are your plans? He said, what do you want? I said, I told him we should get married. He said, remember, there's no proposal. I'm the one who is, in law we call it the leading question. I'm the one leading the conversation. So he didn't propose. I'm the one who told him that the year is over, now you have to marry me or we are done. He said, if you want a wedding, plan it. And who is Susan? What? To plan? I planned. I planned. I had my colors, and we filmed Kenya High. The wedding was Consolata Kenya High. 1,002 people. So 2,000 people attended my wedding. Yeah. I'm the one who planned. Remember, I've proposed to him, and then I have planned the wedding, told him what to wear. Thank God, he appeared. And so, let me say this, I was not prepared for marriage. And when I analyze this now, I don't think I would say I was deeply in love. It was convenience, it was that he was there. It's that he said yes. It's that he said plan. I said okay, plan. And then he was a good father. He has always been a good father.
But if I can stop you there, is it something that most of us can relate to? Maybe you might not talk about it openly, but is it something that we can relate to? That I have this desire, I must go for it. Even if I am the one to, carve it out the way I want, it has to happen this way. But you're forgetting that you're not in it alone. So Susan found herself in that dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when the first issue of marriage began, there were many. Hey, I was shocked. Reason being, I'm coming from a background where my parents are still enjoying marriage. 57 years later, honestly, I have never seen my parents argue. I've thought, do they actually have argument? I don't know if they fake it, or they argue in the bedroom, I'm not sure. But to date, they don't argue. So I was never in an environment where there was a conflict, and then people sat together and sorted out what the issue was. So I entered into marriage like with a bubble. This guy will be like my dad, because my dad has loved my mother. And so I was not prepared. I don't know if it's our place. They didn't tell us anything. Our people didn't say anything. Our place, we talk about plots, we talk about the bank account. So the memo about the marriage was not there. It's not there. So I remember one of the first incidents is a schoolmate came from Makerere, and he kicked me out of the house. And I'm like, I was in denial, I was shocked. So the story is very long, and as Sue said, by God's grace, just the way I'm in this room this morning, I got to meet Lynn Gugi about 4 years ago, and she interviewed me. And so please, you just look for Lynn Gugi, Susan Kagwe, you'll see the whole story there. But I want to summarize. One, he was openly unfaithful. He would come to the bed and tell me, you're not as sweet as the woman I've just slept with. And I'm like, Please, for your own information, I'm a lawyer, he's a lawyer. People always say that don't marry a professional because she's going to be at a letter of policy kwa nyumba. There's nothing like that. All the women in this room are firstly women. Before you're a psychologist, you're a woman. So when you get into your home, when you get into marriage, you enter as a woman. I didn't enter marriage as a lawyer. And so I would sit with my clients, direct them to FIDA, direct them to the police station, and they didn't know at a minute I was slapped the night before. I'm just putting myself together because I have to work. Every kind of abuse you can imagine. I don't know if you used to take the dictionary, alafu anakram, and then he tells me, let me tell you, Apostle Hadassah, for a very long time, I thought I'm very ugly. Because he would tell me daily, even if it's not once a day, twice, you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly. I hate you, you're hopeless, you disgust me. And I sat and I stayed on. Because by then I got the first baby, who is now 19. And then I remember when I got that first baby, it's the first time he said the marriage is over. And he told, the baby was 6 months, and he told me, look, I want to take you back. Who arranged the wedding? It's you. Did I propose to you? No. So, I have thought about it, and actually, I didn't want a wife. I wanted children. And since the first son was now his, we had renamed the baby, and now there is a second son. Si watoto ni wawili. So you pack your bag and leave my house. And you can't live with the children are mine.
Hey! How old were the kids at this point?
My second born was 6 months. By the time I'm being chased, the others were always there, but this was a serious one. And the other one was 4 years, 4 or 5. So it's a long story, but I began to hate myself. I used to redo my hair anytime I had money, maybe twice in a month, because I would go to the mirror and I see the reason I'm ugly is because of my hair. So I go to the salon, I redo my hairstyle. I started being so suicidal. I started longing to die. And I love my parents and we have really had issues. But I remember one day, there are two things. One day my father said, why don't you just live with him but pretend he's not alive? And I wondered, another one, my mother is like, are you the first woman to be beaten? Understand, women are always beaten by their husbands. It's not a big issue. Then sometimes they would have discussions with my ex about me. Maybe it's because she's a lawyer and a ringer. Maybe it's because, so they even took his side. One of the reasons too that after prayer, because God ordained all these things, one of the reasons why I went live as I am live now with my story is because over the years I've met a lot of women, professionals, different. I'm mainly a family lawyer. And when you're a professional, when you're high profile, one of the things you always do is to mask. The way we are smart today. There's no platform for a woman who has studied, who has so much at stake to stand up and say, look, it's not okay. Or I've made a mistake. Yeah. We always have to be put together, appear in the room when we are doing very well. And so that is one of the reasons why I always, I thank God for this opportunity to speak about my story. So you don't know, but it has taken 12 years, or about 11 years, for me to be seated here with you. The networking group that we belong to, I joined when I was in the middle of my court case, fighting for my children. And so I had lost network. I would enter the court case fighting for my children, and somebody would tell me, can you be able to help me with my case? And I'm dying. I'm losing my children. And I would have to stand up as a lawyer and represent someone else. The lawyers in the room know what it is. We call it holding brief. I'm holding someone's brief and my case is coming up.
If I can stop you a little bit and highlight a little bit on your story. And that's why I say that I cried and cried and cried, because there's a part where you said when he decided that he wants you out and you leave the children, and at some point you were able to leave. But there was this bit that was mentioned that the court ordered that you need to stop breastfeeding your 6-month-old child because it needs to be convenient for the father to have joint visits. Tell us a little bit about that, because I was quite confused.
Yeah, so actually I'm very, very active in that court. We call it the Children's Court, and there's a Children's Act. And like a law around children. At the time when now the marriage ended completely, I did Kikuyu style. I swept the house. I left with everything. Reason is because I had bought everything. So I left with my babies, my 3 sons. The small one was 9 months. And we left a very big house, and I remember the movers, when we sorry to take you a little bit back. When we moved from the big mansion to a 2-bedroom house, they are like, hey madam, are you sure you've made the right decision? Because they had to pile up things on top of one another, on top of each other. When we got there, I had to go back again to court. I had started the first case for my children. We reconciled. By the way, this story of reconciliation, think about it before you reconcile. It's very good, but think about it. Pray.
Please, don't pray.
So, it doesn't work. Actually, when we reconciled, it got worse. So I left and went back to court. My baby is 9 months. So when the court look, the children's law is very clear. The children belong to both parents. But at that time, so the law was easier, because we had a rule that said a baby who is young should stay with the mother. But remember, on this other side, there's a lawyer. So what happened is that during the judgment for my case, the magistrate said, which was not being done then, now it's been done. He said, you're going to share the time of the children half and half. So half the time of the children, they are with me, the other half, they're with their father. And at that time, my son now, who is 16, was breastfeeding. And so when I brought it up that half the year he cannot stay with the father, they said, stop breastfeeding. It's very simple. Stop breastfeeding so that the child can be able to stay with the father and also stay with you. In all this whole thing, as I've said, you watch the whole story. For me, so that has been the most devastating one. That I lost 50% time of my children 12 years ago. So I only see my children half the year. And at that time, even when they started off like that, that small boy had not started talking. He was not potty trained. My mom looked for a house girl to live with my ex-husband, and we would communicate with her. Which word have you heard him saying? Then we would repeat on my side. So we would repeat the words on either side. And no wonder he's that. I told him, I'm coming to talk. Why do you always talk about my dad? That's what he asked me. I said, well, just relax. So anyway, that was the toughest part of my story. The children are doing well. And why I'm saying so, it has taken 12 years for me to be here, is because it has taken years of prayer, of people talking to me, supporting me, walking with me, for me to sit in this room and say I am thriving. It has not been obvious, that she's a lawyer, so she's thriving. alizaliwa Nairobi so she's thriving. No. It has taken God for me to be seated here to say I am, because when you're thriving, your child is thriving. When you're thriving, your tribe is thriving, your business is thriving. For me to say I'm thriving. So God had to take me through a journey. Had to take you through a journey so that we can sit, I can tell my story and say, imagine, now I am thriving. When you people, when the group I'm now a director, when I walked in, you didn't know my story. You just had, oh, there is a new director who is coming. For me to earn the title of director, it has been work. Because I hated myself. For me to wake up in the morning was work. For me I remember one of the BNI meetings, I was there one day and I got a message that my son was sick. So anytime my children have been on their father's side, there has never been any communication. So imagine, Sue, your child is sick, you have information, but you don't know how sick he is. Now ujui ako wapi, and you're a mother. So I'm seated in the meeting. I have to complete the meeting and then go and start see where will I trace my sick child. And so why am I saying some of these things? Maybe what I'm saying today does not relate to anyone here. But if you come across a woman who is going through issues, please tell her the day is coming when she will sit in a room and say, I am thriving.
The greatest highlight for this, because it's quite summarized, and that's the reason why I think each one of us should get an opportunity to go and just listen to it. But the one thing that you have just said right now is that God helped you through the process. If I may ask right now, you still have the arrangement of seeing your children half the year? Is it still ongoing?
So my sons are leaving on Monday. So we are still sharing custody, though it's just now with my last born, who is now 16. That arrangement runs until children are 18. Hey. Yes. And now the interesting thing is, now for the one who is 19, he's used to living in 2 homes. That's the new shocker in my life. So I cannot tell him not to go to his father's place, because he has never lived in 1 home. He has always lived in 2 homes. So back and forth. In fact, when they were in primary, one sock would be on this side, this other socks is on this side. The uniform is yeah. So so I thought that when they stand 18, the whole thing, I'll relax. Shock on me that, well, they love their father as much as they love me. And they want to they want to maintain both. That's their life. They have, let me call it a double life. That's how they have grown.
And do you feel like this has impacted them positively?
Yeah, so it has. They have a stepmother who I really struggled with at the beginning. And the first day they came and told me, Mom said, I cried. Because I'm like, Mom, which mom? I'm the mom. They said, no, Mom said ABCD. So I've come a long way to allow my children to tell me Mom said. And I say, well, what has Mom? So all of us now sit down and listen to what Mom has said. So let me start with my eldest. He's very focused. He's the son who has gone through all the stages with the mother. When you see my story, you see how my ex-husband ended up also harassing me. You know, sometimes someone will love your child as much as they love you. When they stop loving you, they now stop loving your child. Very focused. The second born is very quiet also. Now the last born is the one who is going to be in such rooms, giving his story. I want to end. When he went to Form 1, he went and one evening asking around, are your parents in marriage? Have your parents ever been separated? And he came up with a group of children like him. And they started having evening sessions. And when I next met him, he said, you know what? Mom, you and Dad are mad. Your story is the worst. Other people are okay, they're co-parents, they are normal parents. What are you and Dad arguing about? Why can't you understand a court order, live through a court order and be relaxed? So I am, let me say, I'm seeing God in them. A lot of people have spoken against them. Never allow your people around you, as apostles said, to speak down on you, because people always speak against children from a broken home. Or children in a broken home. No, just reject it. Me, I always reject. And I've seen God working through them. We are very close, if like this young one and girls. So we are always talking about girls. So we are good. Because when they would come home, I only have 6 months with them in the year. So in those 6 months, I have to speak with them, laugh with them, play with them, because the other half, I won't see them. At all. I can't talk to them at all. So, yeah, when they are on the other side, there's no communication. Even now. In fact, we started by talking with apps. Like, they started sneaking in, like speaking to me through an app or something when they are on the other end.
But is that even legal?
It's not legal, but I'm one lawyer who decided I will not spend my time fighting in the court for my children. I didn't have the emotional strength. I didn't have the support. By the way, I did. Please, I'm requesting, and I always request my clients, if you know anybody going through stuff, as her sister, stand with your friend. Stand with your relatives. By this, everybody stepped away from me, including my relatives. Maybe they didn't know what to do. But now I'm just saying, look, if you hear your cousin is going through issues, call them. Don't avoid them. Because I think people were so shocked after all the beautiful wedding. Now there are issues. They just stepped away. So I want to say something that as we conclude. I asked God when I was in marriage. I remember I was brought up as a Christian girl. I prayed. I asked God to reconcile us. Because even though I'm a family lawyer, I don't encourage divorce as a Christian lawyer. And I realize now that God had to separate me, as Apostle said, because of destiny. Correct. I'm telling you the truth. If I was still married and the marriage had worked, see, right now I would be cooking for him lunch. Yes. Yeah. Or we would be traveling to his village to see his relatives. But God had to remove me from the marriage, take me through all the drama, so that he can use me. Correct. By God's grace, since my story started trending, I have led so many people to Christ. Wow. So many. So many people have called me. I remember one day someone called me. She wanted to kill herself and her child. I picked my son, my eldest son, and he's the one who went and did the counseling. He told the woman, if my mother had killed me and killed herself, we would not have come to your house. Yes. So I'm now ordained as a deaconess in my church. Wow. I would never have seen ordination anywhere. I'm an evangelist. God would never have used me as he's using me now just for his glory if I had stayed on. So I'm not saying that people should leave. All I'm saying is when the word of God says all things are working out for good. For those who love the Lord. For those who love the Lord, yes. It's true. It's true. They take away. You come out smiling. So I'm about to join the gym on a serious note. Hit the gym. Enjoy your life. Me these days, kwanza, like when I hated my life, I hated everything. Now I've learned to enjoy my life.
Yes.
When it's mango season, I eat even 4. Kiss badai. Enjoy your lives.
Yes.
Love one another. But above all, I have reached here because of serving God.
Yes.
Today, go and look for a position in the church and serve God. Wipe a chair.
Yes.
Take a child to the Sunday school. Take them to the toilet. Serve God.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.